Posh Anderson. Thank you for joining in. Sokonuwo, thank you for joining in. MC Global, thank you for joining in. Thank you for your patience. We should have been starting by 9 p.m., but I had so much on my table. I just had to clear and ensure that today's show still goes on. Hello, Binta_. Thank you for joining in. Oluwatosin, thank you for your patience. I can't wait for you to come live and throw some light on this topic. Madam Oluwatosin Adegun will be joining us today to throw some light on this topic. She is experienced on topics like this, matters relating to women advocacy. So she's going to be throwing some light on this topic. Thank you for joining in, and sorry once again that we're starting late. Why did I want to do this topic today? Honestly, today I had no idea, or rather I wasn't decided on the topic that I was going to be discussing on today's Life's Journey with Benedicta. But after putting up that post on my Instagram live feed, I felt we should talk about it. The essence of Life's Journey is to discuss issues that concerns us, issues that we face on a daily, challenges that we have to learn to deal with on our journey through life. And this is Life's Journey with Benedicta. Welcome, everyone. And on today's topic, we are going to be discussing why are women denied access to their children upon divorce and remarrying, or upon divorce. Now, let us understand that in some cases, some women will choose to divorce and never remarry. Sometimes they choose to divorce and hope to remarry, but they are unfortunate. They never get to find that person they wish to settle with. And in some cases, women do get divorced and still get married or remarry. But I have come to realize in the 10 years that I was, that I happened to be going to the Nigerian court for my divorce case, I was privileged to meet a lot of women that were also in similar situations as mine. Some, their cases, or rather their divorce settlement came way earlier than mine. And I had to ask them, did you end up getting custody of your children? Did you get joint custody, or were you denied custody? And it will shock you to know that the answers that I got, most of the women, or rather 3 out of the 7 women that I happened to be friends with, or rather I got acquainted with in the 10-year period or the 9-year plus period that I was going to the courthouse for my divorce suit. The divorce was granted, but they were denied custody for different reasons. They were denied custody. So it didn't come to me as a surprise when I hear from other women that they face this same similar challenge. Filing for a divorce in the Nigerian High Court as a woman, in most cases, you might end up not getting joint custody of your children or even getting any custody at all. So I'm inviting a lady here. Her name is Oluwatosin. Once I am done with explaining my situation and the situation I have found to be very common practice here in Nigeria, I will be inviting Madam Oluwatosin Adeogun to share or to throw some light on this topic with us. You see, When I filed for my own divorce, dissolution of marriage, I opted for joint custody because I felt that it is only proper for both parents to share in the raising of their children. Despite the fact that the marriage never worked out, it is unfair for the children to be denied access to either father or mother. So I filed for joint custody, unlike my ex that filed for sole custody. So in a situation like this, I find out that when women go into a contentious divorce battle, not in all cases, but in most cases, they end up losing the lawsuit. Why is that? Because the little I know of the Nigerian laws as regards the solution of marriage, both parties should have access to the children. And unless you are able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that either parent is mentally retarded, mentally incapable, or is an absentee parent, both parents would be given joint custody in most cases. What am I trying to say? If you are unable, or if you are able to prove that a parent is mentally incapable of taking care of a child, that party or that parent might be denied access to that child, or might be denied the plea to have joint custody as regards the child. But in a situation whereby you're unable to prove mental incapability of a parent, that means a parent is mentally stable, he or she is willing to care for the child, why should that parent be denied custody or joint custody of the child? If he or she is seeking joint custody, on what grounds would they lose custody? So that is the question I'd like to ask Tastebudzng Adegun. If a parent is capable, physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially able to care for his or her child, in this instance, I'm talking about a woman that is mentally, physically, and emotionally able to care for a child. If she is able to care for a child and she hasn't shown she hasn't given any indication that she cannot care for the child, on what grounds is she supposed to lose joint custody of that child? So I'm going to be inviting Tastebudzng to join in. No, your phone. Let me have your phone. I'll give it back to you. So I'm waiting for Tastebudzng to join in. I'm waiting. I think the network is hanging. Tastebudzng. Please, let's just give a few seconds to see if she's able to join in. Tastebudzng she's a director at ISH 61, Human Rights and Social Justice Initiative. So, like I said, she has done a lot of human rights jobs that concerns women and the girl child. So while we wait for her to join in, I think the network is bad where she is. While we wait for her to join in, I will continue with my discussion until she's able to join in. I think the network is not too good where she is at. So I'll keep waiting to see how she's able to join in. So, three of the ladies I met, or I had the privilege of being acquainted with during the 9-year course of my going back and forth to the court for my own dissolution. When their union was dissolved, they didn't get custody of their children. And from what I gathered, or rather from my impression of them, they looked mentally stable to me. One of them was a pediatric doctor. Yes, she's a pediatric doctor. She didn't get custody of her children. She lost the custody of her 14-year-old son to the husband. The other one is a housewife that gathered funds from family and friends to file for custody. She was getting a dissolution from a high chief that also happened to be a legal practitioner. She lost custody of all three daughters to her husband. And the other one happened to be a businesswoman. She trades in wrappers and all of those things. She also lost custody to her ex-husband. So these are three ladies that I met at the Port Harcourt High Court, where I was going for my own dissolution. And I didn't want to, because they're not my friends, I didn't want to pry. When they told me that, I just told them to hang in there, be positive, go for an appeal, encourage them, and I left it at that. I didn't want to go into the details of why they weren't giving custody, what happened, what did not happen, since they were not offering me further information. So I am now seeing a trend, or I have been noticing a trend, that most women that do file in the Nigerian courts hardly get custody of their children, but some that are lucky end up getting joint custody. Another thing that I would like to discuss is this. Most women would rather not go to the courts in the first place to file for a divorce, because they believe that if they do go to the courts, this is going to be the outcome of their situation. So why spend all that money paying legal bills, spend those number of years, and at the end of the day, you lose the child custody battle, or you have to go to a higher court to appeal whatever unfavorable judgment it is that you have gotten from the high court or from the lower court. So some women would rather not go through all this trouble. They will just pack and leave the marriage, or run away from the marriage and not bothering to file for a divorce. Most Nigerian men will tell you, if you do want to file for a divorce, you can pack your load and leave the house and leave my children, referring to the children as they are children, forgetting the fact that it actually takes two to make a baby. It takes two. So why should it be that in the case of a divorce, the woman is the person that leaves while the husband gets to stay with the children? And it's unfortunate that in our Nigerian context, most women are unemployed. Most women are financially not capable of taking care of themselves, let alone taking care of children. And our system doesn't support them, in the sense that they mandate the party with the higher financial ability to support the party with the lower financial ability, irrespective of being married or being divorced. As with civilized countries, we see it happen in the States and the UK. If there is a dissolution in a marriage, both parties are required to share the custody of the child, irrespective of the financial standing of the father or the mother. both parties are still mandated to care for the child. And in most cases, the party that has the higher financial stability will support the party that is financially weak. But in this part of the world, the person that has the financial strength gets the upper hand at the end of the day. I think this approach to the solution of marriage has to be looked into. It is, to say it is barbaric, I don't think will be overstated. It is wrong, you know. In the case of a dissolution, both parties should still be privy to having access to the children. Christabel, sending you love here from Nigeria as well. Thank you for sending love to me from Dubai. Love you, Christabel. So this is the situation. Look at my own situation. For the Christmas holiday, I agreed that my ex-husband should spend the Christmas holiday with my son, on the understanding that come Easter, he's going to be spending the holidays with me. But Easter came and the school didn't release him to me. They released him to my ex-husband, despite letters from my legal team informing them of my application for stay and appeal. It was received, but they didn't honor it. Every attempt to get to them to explain why they did what they did, my legal team, were yet to get any written response from the school. So when you go about, or when people say, oh, some things can be resolved amicably, I beg to differ. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try to resolve things amicably, it never works. And you know why it never works? It's because it takes two. If you are on the other side and you really want things to be resolved amicably, and the other party doesn't want things to be resolved amicably, there is little or nothing you can do about it. That is the sad truth. There is little or nothing you can do about it. So that is the situation that I find myself in, trying to resolve things amicably, trying to split things equally, at least equally, so both parties get to have equal holidays. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And when there is a stay means whatever judgment you have gotten has to be put on hold. That is my understanding. It might be myopic, but that is my understanding of the law, that when there is a stay on a given judgment, that judgment has to be put on hold until a superior court hears the case out and give or take the necessary decisions that they would like to take. So honoring a stay is mandatory when it has been served to the parties involved. But in my own case, the stay wasn't acknowledged. And it's unfortunate that the Nigerian judiciary, for now, they are on strike, indefinite strike. All the courts are on strike, so we await the resumption of the courts. So nothing right now can be done judicially. We all have to just keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully, the school's management will do the needful, and if they don't, we await the courts. So it's not a situation that anyone would like to find themselves in. I mean, nobody really will just wake up and start making trouble when there is peace or when you can solve things amicably. So I might be bringing my own situation to the fore for discussion, but I tell you that there are so many women that are going through this issue right now. I have so many in my DM. They are also facing this situation that I am passing through, and that is why I would like to hear from the legal uh, the legal side of the team, people that are practicing, the family lawyers, the legal advisors, the solicitors, the ones that are conversant with cases like this. Why is it that the laws in our Nigerian judiciary are not so favorable when it comes to matters of children custody as regards women? Is it because our Nigerian women are not financially buoyant enough to get the very capable lawyers, or they're not financially buoyant enough to have legal advisors? They're not financially buoyant enough to have lawyers come to court to defend them? In a situation whereby they don't even have lawyers, they don't have the funds to get lawyers to defend them, I believe the state should provide lawyers for these women, because they have a voice. They should be heard. Their concerns must be put into consideration, especially the best interest of the child should be put into consideration, because I believe in a situation like this, the best interest for the child is to have access to both parents, unhindered, unhinged. And if we feel that either of the parents has a psychological problem, then that parent should be given assisted visitation. That means if the parent is visiting the child, he or she has to do it in the presence of a supervisor. But still, that parent has access, should have access to that child. So if you're here and you are a legal practitioner, or you have experience with cases like this and you'd like to air your opinion, I can invite you in to join our live feed, so you can tell us what you think about this. And if you have a comment you'd like to air, you can type it out and I can also read it out, so we can all learn from this. Okay. Tinuke Fasomi said she had a similar issue in 2007, and she had no option but to run with both children out of the country. Wow. Now, you see, these are the things I'm talking about. She had to run out of the country with both of her children. This is uncalled for. I mean, why would you leave your motherland for something that could be or should be resolved in the court of law? Why would you leave your family, your loved ones? I believe Tinuke has mother, she has a mother, she has father, brother, sister, some family life outside her children. But she had to leave all this to leave the country because of children custody issue that I believe should have been resolved in the court of law. This is totally uncalled for. This is totally uncalled for. And this is why I am doing this show. There should be a way in which the government can intervene even more. I know that there are laws put in place. I also know that we have judicial loopholes here and there that people can, latch onto and get away with this cruel behavior of denying a mother access to children or denying a father access to his children. But I believe the government can do more. Our legislators can do more. We can enforce these laws in such a way that people will have no option but to obey them. And we can put clauses in these laws in such a way that it is beneficial to even the parent that is financially incapable of paying a legal advisor or paying a lawyer. We can make our laws this flexible. Women don't have to give up their right to motherhood simply because they are in a toxic marriage, they're in a toxic relationship and they want out. These are some of the reasons why wives are dying in marriages. Mothers are losing their lives in a toxic union. They know they are going to be beaten to death, but they have to choose between leaving that toxic marriage and giving up access to their children completely. Not all mothers have the financial ability to fight back. Not all mothers have the patience, the bravery to stand up and fight and continue fighting to have access to your children. I have had to pay legal bills for almost 10 years now in order for me to be able to have access to my children, in order for me to be able to raise them. I have had to have lawyers on my payroll going to the courts every year to represent me in order for me to be able to raise my children, to have access to them as well. So for a woman that doesn't have this tenacity, that doesn't have this unending drive to keep fighting for what she believes is right, is going to give up. So most of these women just stay in a toxic relationship and just die in it. If it's a violent relationship where they are being beaten every day, they just stay there and die because they know that the only option they have is if they should leave this marriage, they would have to leave their children with their husbands and then go, because the husband is not going to be willing to share custody of the children. The worst case scenario is when a woman divorces and decides to remarry. Most Nigerian men find it difficult to come to terms with the fact that their children still has to visit their mother, irrespective of the fact that she has a new husband or she's dating someone else. The child or the children still have to visit their mother. Just the way that our Nigerian men marry other women after divorcing their first wife, and they still have access to their children. It is the same way that the woman has a right to her children, irrespective of the fact that she chooses to remarry. It is time for our Nigerian men to wake up and realize that women aren't slaves. The mere fact that they have children for you or they have children in their previous marriage should not prevent them from having a loving relationship or choosing to remarry. It is their human right, their fundamental human right to liberty, the right to live. Every woman has the right to live, irrespective of the fact that she's a mother. She has the right to live, she has the right to remarry, and she has the right to still be a mother to her children. So Nigerian men, if you are on this table, you know yourself, some are okay with it. I'm not generalizing because I have seen some Nigerian men that were okay with their ex-wives' current husbands. I have seen Nigerian women that are comfortable with their ex-husbands' present wives. So I am not going to generalize. But if you know you are on this table where you have said, over my dead body, my ex-husband is not going to remarry, he's not going to get himself a new wife, My ex-wife is not going to get herself a new husband. Should they choose to do so, I will ensure that they never have access to our children. That is a wrong way to look at it. No man or woman is a slave to the other party. We all have the right to live. We all have the right to be free, to live our lives the way we choose. It is a fundamental human right that you shouldn't allow anyone to strip you off. So please, if you're on this table, you know yourself. You know yourself. You need to have a mindset reorientation. You need to change the way you think. You need to start changing the way you see marriage and divorce and parenting. The fact that your husband has chosen to remarry or your wife has chosen to remarry should not prevent them from having access to their children, because they are parents. You cannot change that fact. A mother is a mother. You can't change that fact. A father is a father. You cannot change that fact. So we need a mindset reorientation as regards to divorced women remarrying and having access to their children. It's unfortunate we couldn't bring Olua. I'm still trying. She's here waving, and I don't know, I think maybe it's my network. What do I do? Do you think the network is bad, Ifedayo? No. Let me try one more time to see if I can bring her in. Oh my God. Just 1 minute. Let me see if I can bring her in. I don't know. She waved and I tried to. Do you think it's my network? I don't know. I'm clicking on it and it's not just.
I think you have the old version of Instagram.
The old version of Instagram.
You can't go live with another version.
But when did the upgrade happen?
They upgrade every day, every other day. Might have to schedule for next week.
I think I'll have to schedule for next week because I would really like Oluwatosin Adegun to, come on and educate us on this topic. She has a wealth of knowledge to share with us concerning this topic. There's so many people willing to join, and I just can't seem to bring them in. I don't know what happened. I think it's my network. So please, let's keep it a date next week. We're still going to be discussing this topic, and I will be bringing Madam Oluwatosin Adegun to join in and throw some light on this, because it isn't fair. It isn't proper that women should be treated in this way. I wrote out what I wanted to say to Green Spring School because I needed to pass my message across dispassionately, remembering to bring to the fore all the legal points that I wanted to be addressed. So I actually had to write it out because it is a very important message that I needed to pass across. And it's not business as usual. It's an important message and I needed to pass it across, and without being passionate, about it. I just needed the message to be sent home, and I believed it was. So please, if you're on this table, you need a mindset reorientation. Our men have to understand, they have to change their way of reasoning to understand that preventing a mother from having access to the child or having joint custody is robbing her of her basic fundamental human rights, which is the right to live and the right to liberty. She should be free to live her life. So thank you all for joining in. And remember, we are going to be discussing this topic next week. Hopefully, I'm going to be upgrading my IG live. I think I missed the last upgrade. I didn't click on it, so I'm unable to invite a guest to join in live. I feel so terrible. I don't know. This upgrade thing keeps happening every day, and I'm not on top of it, obviously. But I'm going to have to upgrade my Instagram, so I will be able to invite our guest next week. So thank you all for joining in. Please, if you have a friend, a brother, neighbor, family member that doesn't understand the fact that women, or rather mothers, should be allowed to live their lives despite being a mom, and this should not prevent them from having access to their children. If you have a man like that in your family line, your friend, thing to be resolved amicably. You cannot force them. You have no other option but to seek legal action. So thank you all for joining in, and see you same time next week, Saturday, on Life's Journey with Benedicta. Remember, it is youtube.com/Tastebudzng. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. And for those of you that have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd like to say thank you very much. I love you all. Do have a wonderful, wonderful. I'll have to upgrade my IG live. Didn't know.
Last minute.